right, joining us to review the performance of the Super Eagles B team is our special correspondent who is in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Christopher Emeyono joins us this afternoon. Christopher, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you.
All right, we also have the editor of sportsintel.ng, Editor Obadino, joins us this afternoon. Editor, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for joining.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be on the show.
All right, Nigeria finally got a win after 7 years at the CHAN competition, even though they are out. Let's look at the performance of the boys. Some are saying, imagine we had set up this way, maybe we would have gotten something better than what we had in the first two games compared to what we had, in the last game. And some are saying, this is a morale boost or consolation. But where do you stand? A morale boost for Nigeria or consolation? And then also review the team's performance. Editor.
It's a tough call, but it's also a huge reflection for the coaching crew. There have been questions about his playing philosophy and tactics over time. And of course, that the general saying that our coaches live and die by their tactics or by their philosophies, and that he has demonstrated over time. But I hope the win and, of course, the changes he introduced in the game, in this last game against Congo, will really tell him some things a lot of people outside have been saying, that he felt, he's a professional, he's the one in charge, and basically he's the only one that could determine how things go. Hopefully, he speaks to him, he preaches to him, the need to adjust how he sees the players and how he play. Sometimes your tactics might be the best, but at the end of the day, you have to play to the player's strengths. These are not under 17 where you can coach on new philosophies and tactics and they will have the time to play. These are fully developed professional football players who did not get enough time to adapt or enough friendlies to be able to test themselves into the new philosophy. Like he pointed out, the little bit of issues about enough preparation, which again is not totally down to the federation. It's also down to him, his availability taking on this project. As such, so I wouldn't want to call it a short notice, but for a lack of better word, a short notice. So this is a game that I expect which is to coach tells him that he needs to hold his philosophy a bit loose about it. Practice a bit of neuroplasticity where he can always change when he gets new information, like the results in this game.
All right, let me come to Chris. Editor has also, brought me to this next question I wanted to ask. I mean, he talked about preparations before the tournament, the timing and all. Some are saying you camped these players for a while in Ikene, training, playing friendly matches. Do you think Nigeria really had the best of preparation going to this tournament? And do you also share the sentiment of Coach Eric Chelle, or it was down to his man management or tactics going into the tournament?
Preparation. I think the preparation started a little bit late because I know the season ended in May. They could have started preparation camping earlier before they did in July. But however, I feel like it's still the case of the NFF always trying to do things late, talking about preparation. It's really sad that that's where we are right now as a country when it comes to football. And it just shows how the results just shows how much preparation that we had before the tournament. However, I do feel like this is not really about system, because Chelle claims that the players do understand the system that he wants to play, the style that he wants to play. It was just about the players not having that mentality to go out there to fight. According to him yesterday, he said the reason why they came out to fight yesterday was because they knew they wanted to return at least 3 points and goals. And you could see that there was a difference in the way the players were fighting on the pitch, fighting for every ball, first ball, second ball, and as much as possible trying to put the ball into the back of the net. And I think that, mentality-wise, the players didn't really come alive until this last game yesterday. So I think Chelle is somehow right in that statement. He spoke about Alex Oyuwa, who eventually won the man of the match, said in training, Oyuwa wasn't really performing to the high level expectation they expected from him, some other players like that. So we can say Chelle system not playing to the player's strength, and the same the players as well didn't cover themselves in yesterday.
All right, maybe Popola for Eric Chelle. We've just heard from Chris say that, preparations is also part of it, but some would also argue that majority of the leagues in Africa ended similar time with leagues in the NBF and league in Nigeria. Then other teams also had little or no time to also prepare. But at the end of the day, they already knew players they wanted to pick, and they are giving results for their respective countries.
Yeah. I think for me, it's just a lot of options. If you say excuses, which says there was no time because you have assistant coaches follow you have assistant coaches which you have coaches who were the one that qualified the team. Why not? Okay. Get from their piece of knowledge on the when to take in your place and also for the formation you want to place so that you know enough team what you have tactics when it comes to the NPF players. Take use of coaches you have in your place, 16 years old to help you, pass your message up to these boys. We've read a lot of coming out of the camp, which we do not see we have good authority to can't just do because there are a lot of when you hear out the time, but you have coaches who they've spent their life coaching this in the league. Why not hear from take whatever experience after they confirm to you our head coach and put input in it to work with this boy. For me, I think having the time has just been an immense use. At the end of the day, we've paid for it. You need to use if it's something that is working along the senior side with the team inside, I need along with the side that majorly consists of players that play, a certain part in league. You have done enough time when you need initially that just have 2 weeks or talks with this boy. You already know time span you have to what you have. So that will be it's an excuse.
All right, any talk about, with what we've seen so far, the first game ended in a loss, second game in a loss, and then the third game in a win. With the bashings on social media, the Nigerian league is this and that, do you think the boys have been able to redeem themselves and also the image of the league, or it's not enough with their win against Congo?
It's a far cry, basically. I have to be honest, because when it comes to the conversations about players of the Nigerian Professional Football League, there's this level of bias that comes from people who are not fully focused on the leagues or the elements of the league. They think as long as you lose the game, not how you lose the game, but as long as you lose the game, it means the Nigerian league is bad. And that's the problem. That's a huge bias that there is. So winning that game might not be enough. You might win a bit of arts towards them that, what could have been if they had put enough fight, enough energy like they did against Congo. But in the overall context, it will be almost like nothing because they think the players are bad as long as they lost 4-0. The Senegal game was a very close game and they lost by margin, just by a single error cost them that game. The most scandalous one was the 4-0 loss to Sudan, and by that, a lot of them have brought out the knives and the cutlasses to judge the team. But if they took their time to watch the game against Congo, they can see that these boys could have done more and they could have brought more onto the table to make Nigerians happy. This is the same players from the Nigerian league. I could boldly say that before next season or into the new season, a lot of these players would have moved out of the Nigerian league. And yet, a few of our people think they are not good enough. So if they are not good enough, who is buying them? No matter the league, as long as they attract interest outside of the country, that means something. So they would have won much as we would have wanted, because what is still awaiting them is their performance in the CAF Confederations Cup and the CAF Champions League, with about 4 teams representing Nigeria.
Okay. All right, Chris, let me come to you now. If you want to pick players from the squad and suggest to Eric Chelle and say these players can go into the senior national team ahead of the international window in September, which players do you think deserve a place in the Super Eagles squad, the main team?
Oh, just to start with, I think Tochukwu Michael, he played outside of his position. He's normally an attacking midfielder or central midfielder. He played in the defensive midfield position this time around in this tournament, and I think he really did play well. Looking at his attacking qualities, he did wonderfully well in that middle of the park for the Super Eagles. I think I also had Gino Nduka. His calmness a little bit in defense can bring something to the Super Eagles as well in the World Cup qualifiers. And I also do think as well that some other players who did not even play in this tournament could also be good additions. We have a little bit of problems on the right attacking side of the Super Eagles. Just Samachukwu has been our only option. Alimi could be a very good option, back up to Chukwueze as well. And some other players as well. Recent Zondu left back position as well. I think there's a number of players that he can actually choose. But to be honest, when we asked him this question, he said the players still need to grow mentally before they can even say they want to play for the Super Eagles.
All right, I must say a big thank you to you, Chris Emeyodo, for your time. And I know you'll be looking at the map now to see how close is Nigeria in the next few days, but wish you well and well done on a good job so far reporting Nigerian players abroad. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you very much, Editor Badino. Always a pleasure having you on the show to talk Nigerian sports and what's happening in the world of sports at large. Thank you very much for joining.